Welcome back to MOMnation Unscripted. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, it's Marilyn
and Bruce
of Montage Duo. We are a versatile musical act that performs music from the 1940s to today.
We cover a wide range of musical genres and styles, including classic rock, pop, country, funk, blues, and even a little jazz.
So, if you're looking for professional quality entertainment in the greater Phoenix area, either for an intimate acoustic setting
or a rockin' full band sound, Montage Duo will please you and your guests, engaging them to join in the fun by providing an interactive entertainment experience.
For more information, visit our Facebook page at Montage Duo.
Well, hey, MOMnation, here we are again, Season 4, Episode 2, and today's topic is going to be a really interesting topic, I think, ladies, especially with having my super awesome co-hostesses on today, Jeni and Cheri, because they both have teenagers. And today, we're going to be talking with Addie Rausch a little bit about that transition, that kind of like awkward stage between teenager rolling into young adult. Oh my gosh, what do I do? So we're going to be talking through that. But before we do, ladies, how was your weekend? I know Jeni had some excitement.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got dragged out to the dunes, which I've been before, but it's been a really long time. And now we have, 3 kids that we dragged out there with us. So that was an experience. It was a blast and exhausting and a little bit of everything all in one. It was fun. Lots of
Glamis, right? That's in California?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So Glamis is where we went. I guess there's different parts of the dunes and some are calmer than others. And we were not in the calm section. I like to call it like the Vegas of the dunes. It never sleeps. There was never quiet. It was wild the whole time, but it was amazing and fun and not relaxing at all. But
you had some great pictures though.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. And our camper has like a ladder so I can climb up and get up on top of it and get like good aerial pictures of everything. So it was a lot of fun. And the sunset, you can sit up on top of the camper and see the sunset. And it was beautiful, but sandy. I think I still have sand on my scalp. But showering this morning, I'm like, is there really still sand in there exfoliating away?
Well, that's a great way of looking at it. Exfoliation, extra.
Exactly.
Cheri, are we surprised that we would find Jeni in the party section over at Glamis?
No, not after Vegas. No, that's exactly where Jeni would be.
Looks all sweet and innocent, folks, but this girl will rock your socks all night long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We didn't go to bed before 2 a.m. one night. So yeah, it's coming Sunday. We're like ready for bed at 8 o'clock. We were exhausted.
That's awesome though. I'm glad you guys are having so much fun with that amazing camper you have. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's dirty now. We broke it in, that's for sure.
Sand everywhere in there too. You probably be picking that up in the next couple of years.
It's like glitter. It never goes away. It's going to be there forever.
So worth it, I'm sure. So worth it.
Absolutely.
Right?
So tell me about your weekends. What was your weekend like? What'd you guys do?
Cheri?
Oh, us? We hung out with some friends. What else did we do? We went and explored a new town that has, oh my gosh, Katie, I'm at that age where I drive by a beautiful home and I just have to be like, oh my gosh, that porch is amazing. I know I just posted that on my Facebook, but for real, like every house that we drove by, I'm like, look at that one. Girls, like Vinny wasn't with us. So I was like, girls, look at that one. And they're like, Mom, we don't care. But Katie, I have to show you, I'm going to send you a link of some of the houses in this neighborhood. They're gorgeous.
Nice. We're getting so old, huh? When houses totally amuse us.
Yeah.
So for me, short and sweet, oh my gosh, like the weekend went by so fast. Of course, it's crazy busy at work. So there's lots of that. Friday night, we ended up going out on the boat and my mom hasn't been feeling well this week, so we had Jax with us, and we had some friends on the boat. The first time Jax met these friends, because they're actually past clients of mine that we've just kind of gotten friendly with, and I swear something dropped out of the sky, stole my real live sweet nice boy, and replaced him with some alien child that I've never met before in my life. I mean, the kid was swearing, like peed on the floor in the bathroom, like does not do this stuff, was just talking back and just was awful. And so I'm hoping, Addie, this is a good transition, because he's like a teenager, right? He's acting like one. I'm hoping you could shed a little bit of light. I know he's only 6, but my goodness, that child. He ended up being grounded for the next day because he's 6, so what you gonna do, you know what I mean? So we grounded him from the TV the next day, and that seemed to fix his problem. He seems to be fine now, but that was whack.
Yeah, that's out of character for him, so something must have been going on.
Yeah, very much so. So I don't know, we'll get to the bottom of that maybe in this episode, I don't know, but he's not a teen. So Addie,
was he hanging out with older kids that were acting that way?
Possibly. That is a really good point, because at school they all kind of, corral, and I'm thinking that there's some older children maybe mixed in with that. So
he's just testing it out at home and seeing if it was proper behavior.
Didn't work out so well for him. So anyway, so Addie, so excited to have you with us. So like I had mentioned before, our topic is transition, right? Transition from teenager and that awkwardness. I mean, we were all teenagers before. We all probably still remember at least a little bit going into those young adult years. So Addie, this is where you shine. Talk to me about it, girlfriend.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you girls so much for having me here. I love your show. You ladies are amazing, and I love everything that you do. I was really excited to be on your show. Well, for a couple months actually. So my name's Addie Rausch. I'm a personal development mentor for teenagers. I love my job. I have the coolest job in the entire world. I get to hang out with teenagers. I get to help teenagers be their best self. So Life Skills for Confidence is our business. Life Skill for Confidence is an online course. It is a full curriculum. It is 24 lessons, 10 to 15 minutes long. So it's nice, short, sweet, because teenagers have shorter attention span. You just let your teenagers watch the course, and we have seen some really awesome things happen because of the teenagers watching this course. Some of those things, we had one of our teenagers that actually started up a blog almost immediately after taking our course. So we've seen an absolute empowerment coming from this course. So what we're doing right now is we're doing the Teen Transition Workshop. Okay, as you guys know, this episode is all about the teen transition. And the teen transition is really the shift, right? So there is a shift, and that's going to be unique between you and your child, you and your teen, as to when that shift happens. But the shift happens when the parent, instead of, they're still guiding them, but the shift is the parent is now teaching them. So using the idea that the teenager is no longer going to be in the home. So rather than, making them get in trouble, they are guiding them through their choices. They're guiding them through their decisions. They're also making sure that they are equipped, or you're making sure, because Jeni, I know you've got a teenager, and Cheri, you've got a teenager too, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Soon to be 2 teenagers.
Right. Nice. So, guiding them also through the inner calm. So the Teen Transition Workshop that we have going on right now, is specifically focused on parents. So the first lesson we do, we guide the parents through a mindful exercise we teach them how to calm the chatter in your mind, right? So this is an important thing for your teenagers to have. It's an important thing for us to have, but it's extremely important for the teenagers to be able to shut their mind off and to understand when they are becoming overwhelmed or when they're becoming overstimulated.
How great of a skill to learn that early in life. Like, I think I learned that stuff in my 30s, and you know, and I feel like, wow, I would have been so much better equipped for young adulthood and for figuring out, oh my God, because like, think about it. Parents are gone. Nope, got nobody to answer to anymore. Hello world. You know what I mean? Can you imagine having that skill developed early on?
That's exactly it.
And also with today's technology, everything at their fingertips, there's so much stimulation, there's so much constant, everything is on. And so I think that's huge. And it's very different than what we experienced in our transition. And so I think that targeting the parents is really ideal, because if we don't know how to parent in today's world with everything, you know, then we're not equipped either to help them in that transition. So I think that's really important. And I've actually been telling Katie and Jeni all week that, like, I'm stressed out about the whole school computers. My kids are still doing virtual school. In person isn't an option for them. But normally my computers, I have like parent safety on everything. Well, the school computers, I can't do that. And I found my oldest on YouTube, you know, and it wasn't anything like terrible, but she was supposed to be doing homework. And so it's a distraction, you know, and with administrative properties on their computers, I didn't have any parental control. So I think that's huge. Them understanding what boundaries are there to help them be the person that they want to be, even if it's not what mom wants you to be or whatever. That's huge.
Exactly.
I agree. So it sounds like it's a series of X amount of weeks with lessons like what you just described in lesson 1, which, I mean, how meaty is that? So tell me a little bit, Addie, about like, what did you create this curriculum, or do you have a partner over there?
I do have a partner over here, actually. So I don't have a teenager, but I remember clearly what it was like to be a teenager. And I felt like if I had a mentor in addition to my mom, that I would have gotten farther along quicker in life. So I didn't go to college until I was 28 because I wanted to learn a few things the hard way. Although a lot of the stuff that my mom has built into this curriculum is exactly the way that I grew up, I kind of needed that other person to teach me these things. And so that's where I come in, is I want to be that mentor for the teenagers. But the curriculum itself was created by my mom, and I'll introduce her in a second. The curriculum was introduced by my mom. She's had 3 teenagers. She's had a robust life. She's been a single mom. She's been married. She's, you know, been into sales. She was a realtor for 40 years. She was on the board of Habitat for Humanity. She was an airline stewardess, a hippie in San Francisco. She's had an amazing life, right? So this is my mom, Claudia.
Yes, I am old, it's true. You know, 1945 is a pretty good vintage. I think the point too is that we're talking parent to child, but actually the transition is adult to adult. So now that you see that your teen is becoming more like a young adult, you want to treat him more like a young adult. And I think that talking rationally, kind of giving ideas, exchanging ideas, and of course supporting them and telling them, I'm so glad you've listened to me all these years. I'm so glad that you have given some real care to what I feel is important. You know, I'm interested now in what you think. So that's part of what the whole program is about. We're taking and we're helping the people see that the teens themselves have the opportunity to look outside of the home and find other things socially, just for their own creativity. And then that way they're going to have a chance to pursue some of their own goals besides just what the influence is around our own society, school, and home. So you never know what they do, but like Addie says, that we've come up with some great examples of kids.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So why, Mom, if we can keep you here for just a second, what was your inspiration for creating this? Obviously a need in the marketplace, but did something else happen and you were like just super inspired to go this direction?
No, it's a tragic story, so I don't really like to talk about it too much, but I was alienated from my grandchildren. And so in order for me to be able to communicate to my 3 grandchildren, I began to write out the lessons, because I thought that when they're old enough, I can say to them, okay, these are some systems. This is a way that you can have, there's cycles in life. There's cycles. And, when you have a failure, it's just a setback. It's not a failure. You can be successful. So giving them a chance to read my lessons ultimately, because they're only, 12?
They're teenagers now.
Just barely. One of them's a teenager. So yeah, I'll have a lot of fun getting to share the message with them. But actually, it's pretty much God inspired. I really and honestly have had a feeling all along that the principles that we're taught in our society right now are totally good principles, and that for us to care about other people and to look at and reach out to others is what we want to see the children doing as well, and not to feel detached, because our human race is really up against it, so we need to support one another.
100%. I could not agree more with you. Right now, more than ever, we need to support each other and support these young adults that are going to be making these types of decisions in 10, 20 years of what's going to be going on with our society. So totally speaks to my heart. Now, these 2 ladies, Jeni and Cheri, they're right in the thick of it. They have teenagers. I don't. Thank you so much, Mom. If you want to stay, cool.
Oh, it doesn't matter. She just said that one person was going to be on it, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's how we roll, but it seems to be going great with you right in the frame there, so it's totally okay. We just have to be careful we get too many voices because of the audio on the podcast. Want to make sure that it's obvious who's speaking, right?
Good.
But stay on, Mom. We like having you on. So these 2 ladies, Jeni and Cheri, I'm going to kind of let them take it away because I know they have some burning questions. My main one, and this isn't really mine, this is Jeni's, everybody, but I'll start it off and then they can go. She mentioned all teens go through a moody stage. I wouldn't know because, of course, I wasn't a moody child, right? At what point do you see children needing this course? Is it a certain age? Is there is something going on in their lives? At what point is a teen really ready for you?
Active and inactive. Are we on mute?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this course is actually an empowerment course. So we feel like, although it's been fantastic and amazing at building confidence in those teenagers that are lacking confidence, which is a lot of them, we've also seen amazing results in those teenagers that already have that base of personality development, your personal development. Their parents are into it. Their parents are watching Tony Robbins, they're reading Rachel Ray books. They're excited about making themselves better. So as an example, they're already doing these particular tasks. So their teenager is going to be interested. So really, since it is a personal development course, it is for all levels of teenagers. We're really excited too to even get into more of the teenagers that may be needing it.
What I think too is that we really talk about balance. We have to have a balance in life to really be happy. And so the active and the passive, or the inactive, is where you're going to want to look at that. If you put them into sports, if you put them into dance, they're going to learn about teams. They're going to learn about supporting one another. They're going to become more active. They're going to get off their butts and get out there and do something, even if it's just running track around. So the balance with that is to have the inactive time where they can reflect. How did I respond to that? How did I feel about that when that happened? And then they can also begin to see a vision of what they want to be. And they can start to see in that quiet time. So we really kind of almost force them to go with half and half. You can count your rest at nighttime, but you also need to rest during the daytime. And then you need to be active. I don't know how else to tell them that. You've got to get out there and be active. If they can't motivate themselves, we have to figure out a way to motivate them. So definitely sports.
So on that note, do you get resistant teens who maybe don't want to make that change or make that effort to learn what you guys are teaching?
I think they all learn on their own speed. Each segment, I mean, you could almost take the program and run it 2 years later, and they're going to pick up on entirely different things than they picked up on when they did 2 years later. Right now, the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are like eating stuff up. They want to know social skills. They want to know, what's the etiquette, the right thing to do. Whereas the younger kids, this 12-year-old that is especially astute, the first lesson, 1.1, he came out of it and told his parents he didn't want to be a prejudiced person. So, I mean, how you pick up on something like that? I mean, it's there. The message is there. So how, I forgot the question. Get carried away here.
It's just about resistance in teens.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly it, and we have found that, Jeni, a lot, that the teenagers may not want to watch the videos. And that's one of those things we're working on right now. We've added coaching with us weekly, and we're hoping that the parents are going to encourage the teenagers to be on that call so that mom can ask those teenagers questions and work them through some of their questions, some of their challenges, some of the things that they may not want to ask their parents, and just make sure that they're understanding the lessons, the curriculum, the things that we want them to learn. But Mom's exactly right. There's nuggets of wisdom, whatever age you're in, whatever you're seeking. So the first set of lessons is kind of determination and focus. The second set of lessons is being mindful. The third module is all about social skills, etiquette, eye contact, and then the fourth one is about etiquette, table etiquette. So I feel like, the older teens are really excited about the etiquette because they're going to be going out in those social settings and they don't want to feel awkward when they're sitting there and there's 6 different types of forks and, what do? You just look like a bumpkin.
But they also learned about body language and about how to pass a conversation around and how to take a conversation and how to, interject. They also know that it's okay to have different cultures that are blended. So we go through, a lot of other things for them.
Right.
Yeah. I had one other thought, but I can't remember.
Sorry.
You're fine.
So then,
And
do you teach them how to get through job interviews and to how to prepare and how to properly, shake a hand and eye contact and how to get through those things as well? Because that's such an important lesson that I feel like our teens don't know like we knew at that age.
And then what I was going to point out is passion. What you need to do with the kids who don't want to get off their backsides is you need to find out what it really is that they're interested in. If they have apathy, you've got a problem. That's the worst. That's the lowest. But then if you can bring them up to the anger level and to the hope level and continue to give them some ideas about what's out there and what else they can do, and they can compete and they can perform. I mean, that's so much more fun for them to have those kinds of things. So if they can dig and find their passion, they'll be happier for sure. And that's going to make them happy.
Exactly.
I think that's really important what Mom said, because I think a lot of parents out there just want to keep their kids busy, or they're just trying to live through their kids with maybe what they missed out on in their childhood. So I see a lot of parents that push them into things like football or sports or whatever, but maybe that's mom and dad's favorite thing, and maybe it's not the kids. So I think as parents, sometimes we have to remember to listen to them, and it's a two-way street. If we want them to listen to us, as hard as it is, we have to listen to them too and find that passion, what they're really excited about.
It shows a lot of respect.
And that actually kind of goes back to the teen transition. So like Mom was saying earlier, that teen transition is working from talking parent to child and going into adult to adult. So when you're having an adult to adult conversation, you are speaking more rationally. You are speaking, go ahead, I know you've got.
No, this is, easy enough to understand. I mean, to give them examples of what you think would work better for them, and for them to give you some ideas about what they think that they want, and to have the idea of kind of come to a compromise and figure out how you can make it a win-win situation. but to listen. And even if they didn't listen to you the first time, repeat and say everything over again, just because, you know, it starts sinking in different ways. But I think the more that we treat them like they're should be treated with respect. And she does that even with the 5-year-old. I mean, that's the reason she's, you know, doing so well, is because she already thinks almost like an adult does. And instead of having that, you know, dominance. And I came from that generation where, you know, you got punished, all right. There's no question about it. And I don't think it really achieved a whole lot. But I also think that we give them too many choices, and we are too easy. Sometimes I think we have to have boundaries. We have to have expectations, and we do have to tell them get up and go for it.
For sure. Just to jump off of Jenny's last question real quick, do you find resistance in parents when you are training them to speak to their child like adult to adult, or are they pretty good with that at that point?
I don't think we're training the parents really, other than, you know, we expect them to watch the lesson somewhat, so that when it comes time for them to do a stare down contest, or for them to do, you know, shaking hands and all those things, that maybe they can participate. But, you know, we kind of consider the parents have a lot of problems, so we just kind of blow them off a little bit.
So to kind of clarify too, we created the teen transition workshop. It's very short. It's only 4 free lessons, and we created that specifically for the parents. Yeah. The course itself, the life skills for confidence, the parents can just turn it on for the teenagers and walk away. They don't have to be a participant. We do encourage the parents to watch the course, because obviously you want to know what your teens are learning.
Support them. Yeah.
You want to support them. You want to encourage them in the challenges that we're giving them. But the curriculum itself, the Life Skills for Confidence Teen Empowerment course, is just for the teenagers. And then the Teen Transition Workshop is for the parents. And that's the one that's free right now on our website. We'll give you that link. And actually, there's 4 lessons that we're doing for the Teen Transition Workshop. We're doing the inner calm. The second one, which you guys will love, is the social skills. So we found, and the reason that we decided to do the Teen Transition Workshop, the second one, social skills, is because COVID, right? So we have noticed that people aren't giving eye contact as much. When you're in the grocery store, I know that you can't tell when you're smiling, but you can kind of tell, you know, when you're looking at people in the eye. So because of COVID, we've really seen a decrease in social activity, just even amongst the adults. So we're kind of encouraging them to go ahead and shake hands. I mean, sure, use sanitizer, but, and then the third one, elbow bump. The third lesson is the teen transition, talking to them, coaching to them, figuring out how to talk adult to adult. And then the fourth one, we actually teach the parent how to sell the teenager.
That's what we're doing. We're selling the teenager. We start right from the very beginning, establish and report, telling them how great they are. We go right through all the steps, and that lesson number 4 tells you how to do that. And the article that I wrote about the 5 steps to sales, or the art of persuasion, is, you know, really helpful for anything. You can talk to your husband in such a manner that you'll have him wrapped around your finger by the time you tell him that you want him to make the bed every morning instead of you.
Hey, that sounds good. I'm sold already.
What's nice about it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's great. So what is something that you commonly see that parents miss the boat on with their teens? What's something, there's got to be something that all parents are just doing wrong, some advice that you can give us to help us better guide our teens?
They hammer on their kids too much sometimes, or they don't hammer on them enough. There's not if they had that respect, if they treated them like equals almost, I think they would try to say, this doesn't make sense to me. Are you sure that's working for you? Or, you know, but if you're going to just constantly, you know, be mean to them, I mean, they're going to want to leave home, that's for sure, because you want them to, you know. But on the other hand, if you don't teach them chores, if you don't help them gain skills, I mean, just don't be lazy. Don't make them go sweep the floors and wash the tables. You know, do it with them. Teach them how to talk in an Irish accent. You know, have some natural child, have some fun doing silly things. But if they walk out of the house and they can do their laundry, and they know how to spend money, or how to at least keep track. I mean, all those skills that you're going to need when you get to college, when you have a roommate for a job, you know, if you go to the Army, whatever. You want them to have confidence in, and that's what you need to convince them of. I'm doing this out of love, and I'm going to do it with you, you know, until you get so tired of me, you throw me out, but you are going to learn.
And that's the transition. Exactly. Listening to your teenager, figuring out what it is that they want for their life, and then supporting them in that direction. It's fun since I'm, you know, her daughter, we have discussions often about this curriculum, like, okay, well, this is how you taught me. Well, this is what I meant to do. So we have that same perspective, but listening to your teenager and figuring out what they want for their life, and then helping to guide them that way.
And I might add just briefly that, you know, although I have these lessons written out and Addie did not want me to abandon the project and just put it in a drawer and forget about it, she has been phenomenal. I did not know all this technology. I don't know. You ladies are just amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, when I see what she has done, not only with her face and with her voice, but with technology, I am so impressed. I'm so glad I got to see all this stuff. It's so cool. And I appreciate you all too for what you're doing here and now.
Well, thank you. It's something that, you know, it's a great benefit to be able to reach more people, right? So, your course that you do, is that an online course? Is it virtual? Is it phone? Are there in-person classes? How does that work?
Great question. It is an online course. There are 24 lessons for this first round. There are 4 modules. As soon as you enroll the teenager, they get the course immediately. We are this round, starting November 4th or 5th, we are supporting the teenagers with a Zoom call and a Facebook group so that the teenagers can support each other, and we can support the teenagers and encourage them to take the entire course. The transformation, the empowerment doesn't come unless they take, you know, they watch the entire course. And that's really what we want, is we want to see these teenagers' lives change. We want to see them building their own confidence. So can I tell you just a little bit about the modules?
Yeah, go into Facebook and sign up with your email address, and then the price is under $200. So it's a very, you know, easy program for them to have. And then, like she says, and she's expanding it so that she'll be able to help the kids as well, one-on-one, to get into it, because getting into the first 2 or 3 is a little tougher. And then when we get into the second module, which she'll tell you a little bit about with the mind, body, self, I mean, that's when you begin to realize that we really have the breath of life that is essential to all existence. And that's where we begin to really impress them with what this great thing is, that they have the most valuable thing they have, their body. And yeah, and how to feed it and take care of it.
So it's a self-guided, it's a self-guided online course. And we've seen a lot of teenagers, some of the success stories that we've seen, they do 1 lesson in the morning. And if they take even just 4, if they watch 4 lessons, they can cruise through it in 6 weeks. Super quick.
For a week, yeah.
For a week.
That's awesome. And did I hear part of it is, do you take them through social media at all and teach them responsibility on social media and things like that? Do you guys talk about that?
We have not gone through that aspect of it. Our next round of lessons, we'll be getting more into those kind of topics, including like the career development, which I'm really super excited about. The career development part. I want to teach them how to take their personality type test, and then from the personality type, determine what the careers that are in line with your personality type, then teach them how to research those and do informational interviews. Because I just feel like a lot of us, including myself, kind of scramble to figure out what you want to go to college for. And then even after going to college, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was lucky enough to get my degree in applied psychology from ASU, and I had an awesome career. I worked at Banner Health Corporate Center for multiple years and worked my way up the corporate ladder really quick. But, you know, I kind of stumbled into all of it, whereas I would like to help guide them into a better direction in all of that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I went to school for criminal justice. Yep. Was going to go to law school. And I've been a realtor for almost 15 years now. So,
Right.
hey.
That is awesome.
So it's just kind of, I totally agree with you. Had I had a little bit of guidance through that and not just the guidance counselor at school saying, what college are we going to? Let's go, doing their job. I mean, it was just pretty easy for them. Just pick college and move on. There was no discussion about what my likes and dislikes are. There were no tests. There were no personality tests. There was nothing that I can recall anyway.
No, that's how I was as well. I went to my counselor and said, what should I be when I grow up? And they didn't have time for me. So I was like, all right, see you later. And I kind of had to figure it out on my own.
Well, and you mentioned, Addie, college earlier too, just you went later. And that really speaks to me. I know my kids get a lot of that because I've worked in higher education for over 10 years. So even my 10-year-old, like we've been having talks about career and personality test and things like that. And I know people are like, oh, 10's too young. It's really not, because your mind might change. Yes. And I think that that's more so what people mean. Like, you don't know what you want to be. Adults half the time don't know what they want to be when they grow up, but it's good to get kids thinking about it early on. And I love the fact that you guys touch or are incorporating aspects of, getting hired or resumes, jobs, things like that. Because I think that's a skill that many people don't have or don't have access to, and that is really detrimental because interviewing is 90% of getting those jobs that you want. Having the piece of paper a lot of times is required, but it's not going to get you there without that connectivity piece or that communication skill set. So I really like that as well. But I wanted to see, how would we know when you're going to incorporate the social media aspect, especially if you guys are having them join a Facebook group? I know my 14-year-old, she doesn't have Facebook and I don't want her to. Yeah. So what does that part look like?
Totally. We're kind of using this Facebook alumni group to support each other. And I have it as Facebook just because everyone can do Facebook, but I'm not really sure exactly what aspect. To answer your question directly, our next round will be about the social media and the career development. We're also doing the power of love, the art of persuasion. What was the
assertive behavior?
Oh, assertive behavior. So we're in the process of recording these now. So it'll probably be about 6 months when we do the next round of lessons. So that's the advanced course. The course that we have right now is the basic skills. And the basic skills we cover in module 1, we do covering your life so far. We do how to communicate as adult to adult and the choices that they have in self-control. Oh my goodness, I think that one is one of the most important things that we teach. Self-control and choices. In module 2, we talk about mindset and healthy bodies and having a peaceful mind. And then in module 3, we talk about social skills, eye contact, small talk, which is a very important thing. You can go to an interview and feel completely awkward or have a perfect resume and not know how to small talk, and they feel awkward with you and they don't want to give you the job, or they don't want to give you the internship, or they don't want to be your friend. You could even just be anyway. So small talk, body language, and gestures. It's amazing just the difference in your body language, what you're telling people. And then our module 4, we talk about our society's expectations, proper manners, table settings, serving others. So we cover quite a bit in this first 4 core curriculum.
Yeah.
And then, the next round will be building relationships.
That's what I wanted to ask about. So let's talk about sex real quick. Sorry, Mom.
All right.
So here, obviously, here she comes. She's coming back now that we brought that topic up. All right, Mom. So obviously, kids are curious and they're figuring out how to be in relationship with one another. And I can't even look at Cheri in the eyes and say, and I'm sure sex comes up. I know, I can't even look at you. Are you planning on putting sex and relationships in any way, shape, or form into a module? And what are your thoughts on that?
Our modules are already written, so we do have something in there. And what we teach is respect, not only respect, for one another, but respect for your own body. And I think that when they begin to see that when they let others exploit them or take advantage of them, that they're not going to be happy with that. And that if they do spend some time building relationships and finding out about what they like and stuff, that then they have more of a gratifying life, a life that, candy in my mouth. They have better results with a relationship and so we really encourage them we don't say to hold off with sex, but we just basically say it takes time to learn who that person is and who you are. So if you spend a couple of years getting to know someone, so if you find someone you like, but more than anything else, it's all about the respect.
Yeah, that's huge. Self-respect is really important. So how do we, as parents of young teens, help build them up now to have more respect for themselves so that they don't run into problems as they get a little older?
Well, the definition of confidence is equal amounts of humility and pride. So when we see that we make mistakes and we see that things go wrong, then we have more empathy for others. And then we look at others and we say, well, they made a mistake, but I'm going to be, caring towards them. Also, the same thing is to say, well, I have enough pride in myself that I'm going to be clean. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to walk out the door and do the best job that I can. And, that I can make myself proud as well as my parents. So then they walk out with confidence because, we teach them how to run the runway, how to stand your ground, conflict management. There's a lot of things that when they have gotten all that, and I love my part of her part is, with the career thing, but I do the goal setting. When we can make concrete goals for ourselves and take those baby steps, we actually begin to become healthier and more confident. And so helping the kids to realize that there are boundaries, that's part of the body language. Are you comfortable with this close or this close? How comfortable are you? And that way they begin to say, I'm a more, free person. Or I'm not, I'm a more conservative person. Then that's good. We accept everything. We accept every single thing. And that's where you have to treat your kids too. If you're a shy person, that's great. I think that you're going to do fine with that. You're going to build on that, and you're going to go somewhere with it. But by not discounting who they are and what they're doing, you're going to end up with having them grow and become different and better because they have permission to experiment with relationships. And I did an article, and it's in Medium, about building relationships. And, so there's 5 or 6 articles in there actually that are related to these subjects that we've talked about. And that just is an important thing because you're building a relationship with that kid. That kid is no longer under your instruction. Now all of a sudden they're another adult in that family, and they're not that bright, but they've got a lot going on for themselves. So you better sit up and act like they make a difference without letting them run all over you.
Yeah. I think what you said was giant, and it does dial back to my question too. When we're feeling confident, then I'm sure even as teenagers, we're less apt to allow others to perhaps take advantage of us or to be in that type of situation. So I think that's giant. I feel like teaching them confidence at such a young age probably takes care of a lot of the common problems that teenagers seem to have.
I agree.
Well, and they also mentioned, a couple times that mutual respect. If we respect our children and who they are as a person in their individuality, like I have a shy one, I have a super outgoing one. But as long as they know that, hey, that's perfect and acceptable and you can go far, that helps with the confidence aspect. And if you respect them and talk to them as such, then now they know that's how they should be treated versus like mom earlier said, hey, if you're always harping on them and always mean to them, well, that makes them think that that's what people should be treating them like, and that's not. So I think you're right. Like your parenting style has a lot to do with how valued they feel as a person when they move into that adulthood.
Good point.
Completely. And I feel like that's one of the things that mom did successfully with me growing up, is she did instill that sense of confidence. So when I went out there, I felt like it was okay for me to say, no, thanks. Nope, I'm not interested, you know? And then I always had a girlfriend with me, and we always had a pact, like we don't leave each other. That way you don't put yourself in situations that you don't want to be in. And that pact lasted until we were 24, 25, going, you know, just, it's important to be together.
I love that idea.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's so important for you to look out for each other. You know, your parents can't always be there. You're out, you're at a football game, or you're hanging out at the mall or whatever. If you can't have each other's backs, you could get into some trouble. So that's a great point to have to make for your kids to learn. So, question about. I hope I'm not the only one that has this, but I have a 14-year-old that stays in her room and it's really hard to get her to come out and spend time with the family. You know, to even, if we wanted to play a board game, or, you know, to teach how to cook dinner and do things, how do you get those teens involved that are secluded in their room and get them to come out and socialize?
Again, it's negotiating. You sit down and you say, okay, well, you know, here's some examples of what's not working for me. You know, here's how I'm thinking that you're thinking. This is how it's making me feel. And this is, I wonder how it's making you feel. And so here's my solution. You know, let's divide it up. You want to stay in your room, and I want you to play and participate. And so let's do both. Let's have this time frame that's going to be our activity time, and then the rest of it you can choose. But you need to be active, you know, 2 hours an evening. And then see if, you know, you can motivate them by not only praising them and making sure they have fun, you know, maybe giving them some extra benefit that they want, you know, finding out when you're playing the game. It's funny how you learn so much about one another, all the, you know, the fun things that end up happening in the game, and the silly fun things that develop your personality and give you more confidence when you get with other people. So you're doing the right thing for her. You know, it's not that we want you to force the kids to do something, but you do have the power. You are paying the room and board for them, and you know they do owe you something. And I think it's okay for you to have that attitude of yeah, you know, Addie, I want you and your little girl to dance with me more. I like to dance.
No sugar. I think if I can piggyback on that as well, a few of the things that I've heard recently are parents that are not giving allowance just for doing chores. Okay, you have to do chores because you live in my house, and as long as you want to live here, you have to do the dishes because I don't like doing the dishes. No, but rather giving allowance for those kind of things. You know, I expect you to be at dinner and sit with us at dinner every night. I expect you to participate when we have games, and that's what you're earning your allowance for. These are things that you don't want to do. So that's kind of like a job later. That's how you're going to earn your money.
That's a really good point, because I've heard my 14-year-old say, like, well, I don't like doing that. And it would be not chores. It would be something like hanging out with the family, or, you know, things like that, helping out with the baby. And it's funny because, you know, we tell them, hey, mom and dad don't always like what we have to do for work. You know, like there are some things that you're going to love and there's some things that you're going to hate, but it's part of being an adult. And so I never really thought about like, hey, your allowances for your job, which consists of hanging out with the family when you're a teenager who wants to seclude yourself in your bedroom. So that's cute. I love it.
Exactly. I thought that was super cool when I heard it too. I think it was maybe even Mark Siegel that I heard was doing that with his kids. But and then another thing that mom did that for me that I remember growing up with, is kind of consistency. So we always had, she would invite somebody over and we would always cook dinner, and we would be expected to sit down and talk to the adults. So if we would have been running off to play video games or do, whatever we wanted to do, it just, there was an expectation, you have to do this. So a routine almost.
And they got to help too. I mean, who do we want to invite this month? Who do we want to invite, and yeah, then they learned about table setting and that's when they got involved with the cooking. What's your favorite thing to cook? Okay, well, let's cook your favorite thing. Another thing we did too is I worked every other weekend as a realtor. So I took off every other weekend. So I'd have a 3-day weekend. So we consistently, at least once a month, had family outings. So if it was nothing more than just going up in the hills and tromping around, that's what we did. And I think that it gave them a sense, I mean, that's where we get our energy. We pull our energy from nature, from living things. And so when we get out and hang out together, then, they might complain, but I think that they really like it inside. It's just our society has been shoving electronics into their hands since they were, in the crib practically. So, we have to balance that out, and that's what we're looking for is harmony. We're looking for balance in all of our things that we do.
I think that's giant about nature. Mom, you and I align very, very well, by the way. Because everything that you are saying, I'm like, yeah, that's it. But nature, huge, it's giant. And I think that we feel that. Jeni and I do some camping together here and there. And I think that we see that in our own kids too. And I don't have a teenager yet, but even in my 6-year-old, getting out in the nature with the trees and, feeling that energy and having that relaxing moment, and the TV doesn't exist. We don't even have one of those when we go camping. So sorry. I see a big difference. I really do. Jeni, would you say?
It's a huge difference. And that's actually one of the reasons why we invested in our camper, because it's the one thing that our teen consistently asks us, when are we going camping again? So of course we're all in. We want to do as much with her as we can while she's still young enough to want to do things with us. And 2, when we go out, generally there's no cell service. So even if she wanted to get on her phone, she can't, but it seems like she's not even trying to. The phones are put away other than maybe taking pictures or recording videos, but we're all out and maybe it's going for a hike or it's fishing or we, target practice with the BB gun, or, we sit around by the fire and tell stories and jokes, and everybody's included and involved in spending time together. And there's no complaining. There's never, I'm bored. We're busy the whole day and exhausted because we're doing so many activities. And I love that she's actually asking us to do this. So, we want to do it as much as we can, but there's just something about nature that makes you kind of forget about those electronics and social media and who said what on Instagram. Kind of pulls you away from all of that. So yeah, I love that.
Well, and I don't know if Addie and your mom can attest to this, but Jeni mentioned that, no one's saying I'm bored or no one's, bickering. I 100% agree with that. Whenever we go out to the dunes or whatever, and we bring the motorbike, my kids normally fight. They're really close in age. They're 3 years apart, my older ones, and they're constantly fighting. I have all girls in this house. So it's drama and sass all day long. But whenever we're out in nature, like you guys said, camping or whatever, they're so nice to each other. It's just like a different world. Like, hey, do you need the helmet? Do you need this? And so I love that. And I definitely think that there's some aspect of that contributes from the lack of stimulation with them being off their phones. I noticed that sometimes they are super moody when they're on their phone. And then when that happens, I'm like, okay, I want your devices now. But when we're out there and they don't have that, it's just a different mood, a different personality of them. It brings out the best of them, I guess. Do you guys see that in teenagers too?
Absolutely. And I think camping out in your own backyard. So, okay, we're going to have dinner on the back patio. The weather's nice now. And, and all of a sudden the birds and the stars and trees and, you know, and like you say, the campfire all become a little bit more entertaining, you know. But it's like we have to kind of, you know, not only coax them, but just basically say, this is what it is, you know. You're going to watch lessons. We got some lessons here. You're going to watch these for 10 minutes every morning. I mean, seriously, I'm having a hard time understanding how adults don't stand up to their kids, you know, but it's for their own good. I mean, and yeah, I love it that you guys are getting out in nature and appreciating it, because that's how we get renewed in spirit.
And Cheri, if I can piggyback from something that you just said, I already do that with my daughter. If I see that she is having, you can tell when your teenager or your child has had too much screen time, whether it is on, you know, whatever, on their phone, on their iPad. So I will literally tell her, I can tell that you have had too much screen time and I want you to turn it off. And then as soon as she turns it off, and she gets mad, I tell her, can you tell how that feels? Can you see how you kind of get a little upset, maybe even a little like anxious? So that way she can kind of start recognizing that too. And then the next time that I ask her to turn it off, she doesn't get as upset, because I say, well, remember last time when I asked you to turn it off and you had already recognized? So then it kind of helps them understand when they're becoming overstimulated too.
That's giant. Recognizing our emotions. Can you like, whew, if I was 5 years old and could recognize what I was feeling at any given time, yeah, that might have saved me some therapy bills. So parents, I think you're going to be saving yourself some therapy bills by hooking up with these two ladies. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us today. You two have been amazing. I feel like we could have this conversation all day, but we can't. So we're going to wrap it up here. But before we do, and Addie, please do me a favor and send me some of those things that you had mentioned, your free courses and things like that. And I'd be happy to share that in the show notes when we post this.
Wonderful.
But is there anything else, ladies, that you wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about yet?
Us ladies or those ladies?
Everybody, all the ladies.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for having us on. And I can't tell you, I love having Mom here with me, because I am the face of these, you know, I'm the mentor, I'm the passion. I'm like super excited about helping teenagers guide their own life, but the information itself is her curriculum. I was excited about this curriculum. That's why I quit my corporate job to help her put these online. You know, that was a big step for me and my husband to make that choice. But so that I just wanted to kind of like, thanks for having Mom on too. But then the other thing too is that we're going to give we have a special for your listeners. We're going to give them $50 off the course, which makes the teen empowerment course only $147 for all 24 lessons. And we're going to be running that special until November 5th, because that is when we are going to start the course itself with the teenagers. So $50 off, and then they can go online and read all about it. And then the teen transition workshop too is just for parents. That is already free, but the online course for teenagers, we also want to give one away for free. So one teen empowerment course for one of your listeners, the first one to go onto the teen transition workshop and enroll to the teen transition workshop, I'll send you an email and we'll get you set up with the teen empowerment course for free.
Awesome. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Is there any sort of like offer code or anything that somebody should mention?
Totally. It's so for the $50 off, it's take 50.
50, okay.
And then the first person to enroll in the teen transition workshop, we'll put that link. I'll just reach out and email them. And if they say that they heard us on MOMnation, then they get it for free.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, ladies, so much. That is super generous. And I mean, these days, I know people can use it. So
I know, right? That's what the funny part, Mom, you said that a lot of the stuff that you were aligning with Mom's thinking, and so many moms can do the same. Like they can align with Mom's thinking, because this is just fantastic curriculum. I can't even tell you all of the things that we teach. It's been an hour and we've told like a tiny little bit. It's just an amazing curriculum.
Yeah, and what you have told gets me really excited because the world definitely needs this for sure. Like I've said probably 50 times during this show, wish I would have had this type of guidance, wish I would have had this type of knowledge. I wish I could have been able to figure out what my emotions were and why I was feeling them. I wish I could have had some confidence. I liked what you said, Mom, about the formula for confidence. Half humility and half, what was the other thing? It's half humility and half
Pride.
Pride and humility.
Yeah. I mean, just think about that. That is giant when you just think about
a 2-minute clip on YouTube, and it's entitled Confidence, and it's just very impactful. I really like it. I like all of them on YouTube. There's like 8 of them on YouTube that are just little short clips. You guys are beautiful. God bless you.
Thank you. And you too. Thank you guys so much. Ladies, what do we want everybody to do? Jeni, Cheri, do you know? One of you? Both of you?
Find us on iTunes or your Android favorite. Yes, that one. Find us, subscribe, and download all of our episodes. We have tons of information out there for you ladies. But this will help us not only get our message out and help you individually, but it'll help us with locating other moms that are in need as well.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review.
Yep. If it's not a 5-star yet, just wait for another episode or 2 and you'll get there.
Yeah. You'll learn to love us. All right, ladies, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you both.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.